So welcome to Healthy Heads in Hampshire, and our focus today is on mindfulness. There are lots of links between mindfulness and good breathing and finding good breathing techniques that work for you. And we're talking to Penny because she runs pennymetcalf.com. So you can find her on the website, you can find her on Facebook and Twitter, and also she's got some meditations recorded on SoundCloud and YouTube. So if you kind of Google her name, you'll be able to find out lots more information about her. So thanks to Penny for taking part for today, and hopefully you can find this video useful.
So hi Penny, can you maybe start off by telling me a little bit about your business and what you do?
Yeah, certainly. My business is called Penny Metcalf Mindfulness, and I'm teaching mindfulness to anybody really in the workplace and individuals, and to runners. I'm teaching mindful running.
And where is it that you first kind of got interested in this? When did mindfulness come up for you?
Oh, well, I was working as a support worker, which was sort of emotionally exhausting work, not paid very well, lots of 0-hour contracts. So I did mindfulness to help manage my own mental health. And I told my son's teacher when he was in year 6, and she said, "Will you come in and teach the kids after Christmas?" But I was completely terrified about any sort of public speaking, so I put it off for as long as possible. She kept going on at me, and then in the end my first audience was 30 11-year-olds, and I was absolutely sweating fear. That was my first experience of teaching mindfulness, but actually it was so lovely and the feedback was so nice. They all said that they really benefited from it. It helped them improve their sleep, gave them strategy before their SATs, helped them deal with difficult siblings with special needs. They put younger brothers and sisters to sleep in the same room as them, and 2 of them had used it at their grandparents' funerals to help them feel a bit calmer. So then people told me that I should teach mindfulness, and that's why I qualified to do it.
So that was kind of the beginnings of it for you?
Yeah, all thanks to Mrs. Stevens.
And that's quite a baptism of fire to start with such a large audience of inquisitive faces, I imagine.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just got better ever since.
So what personal benefits have you found from you kind of practicing mindfulness?
I think just that a sense of calm that it's brought to my life. At the time, I had a bit of anxiety, depression, insomnia. I had a lot of things going on, and I had less control over them, really, over my life. And then building meditation into my life. At the beginning, I just used to use it a bit like a paracetamol for the brain, which is how a lot of people get into it, just thinking I'm really stressed, I need a meditation. I'm not stressed, so I don't need a meditation, which isn't really the idea. But even that just helped me sleep, helped me find a bit of calm during the day. Then I looked into it after I started teaching it to the kids. I looked into it more, and I found that you're supposed to just practice every day, regardless of how you feel. And that in that you're developing your ability to calm down when you need it. So the whole idea, is it increases your focus. So that's the thing, that that most of us are always worrying about things that might go wrong, particularly at the moment. There's a lot of what ifs around. We've got a lot less control over our lives than we normally do have, and our brains are all wired to think about all the different scenarios of what might go wrong or what has gone wrong in the past, all these things that could happen. And I'd say I was an expert in that. So as we all know, we practice, we get good at whatever we're practicing. And I was definitely practicing panicking about all the things that could go wrong in the future and worrying about all the things that had gone wrong in the past. And in becoming an expert in those things, that's why I had insomnia and sort of continual living on adrenaline. And then with mindfulness, you learn how to manage your focus. The idea being that you keep it on your breath or your body, and then you just regain control over your focus, which allows you to have more control for the rest of the day and manage all the stress better and feel a bit calmer.
Mm-hmm. So it sounds like there was some kind of swapping over of habitual practices of thinking and overthinking with breathing and mindfulness, that there was kind of a change of focus in your day.
Yeah, exactly. So I think you have to spot it before you can deal with it. Like with a lot of negative thought patterns and behaviors, you have to realize that you're doing it before you can change it. And that's where the meditation helps, because it's about just seeing where your mind goes, how often it's wandering away, what your tendencies are. And then it was doing that allowed me to be able to manage it better.
How do you think that mindfulness benefits the people you work with's mental health?
I think in that it gives them more control over where their mind's going. So particularly for people who've got a tendency to anxiety spirals, doesn't it? So you feel a bit anxious, you breathe faster, you feel more anxious, you're anxious about your breath, and that's how the anxiety tends to spiral. So the idea with mindfulness is that you see the beginning of the spiral, you spot the signal that your body is giving you or that your brain is giving you, and then you're better able to manage that anxiety, whether that's what's relevant to you, or depression, or whatever it is that you've got a tendency towards. It's just that increase in ability to focus that helps you manage all those areas, really, so that then you can just bring your mind back to like a happier place, like the fact that we're safe in the moment, or what we have to be grateful for, just gives you more ability to be able to manage your mental health in a more positive way.
Absolutely. And I think there's something certainly to be said there about being able to track back and notice kind of at earlier points when your body's giving you some warning signs that you're not feeling okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what do you think makes your service unique?
The fact that I'm trying to run it in a very practical way. So the meditations are very short, and I give a lot of practical exercises to help people bring their mind back into the moment and focus on where they are there and then. And as well as that, I've getting qualification in nutrition and exercise. I'm a running coach. So I'm trying to help people generally improve their quality of life on all fronts, according to what the person needs and what they're interested in doing.
Yeah, there's certainly different ways of working with mental health, and having practical ways to kind of focus on, like you're saying, kind of across nutrition, across general health, certainly will all benefit and work towards good mental health.
Yeah, absolutely. And also in like gratitude exercises, there's a lot of science behind gratitude and how just shifting your focus towards being grateful for things that are going well and the things that you've got in your life, the scenery, the beautiful countryside around us, just how those small shifts can actually make a really big difference. And that's a feedback I've had from clients recently, is that I've managed to explain mindfulness in a way which is no nonsense, not at all hippie or wangy, just sort of down to earth, and allows them to bring it into their daily lives in a way that they can make the changes that they need.
Yeah, because these changes, that if we're making changes in a life, the easier we transition to them, the more chance they've got of being enduring and lasting. So certainly working on a practical level can support emotions for sure. Last week there was a mental health focus on kindness, and certainly I think thankfulness and kindness kind of managed to go hand in hand. If we're able to feel like we're being on the receiving end of kindness but also giving kindness, I think that helps us recognize what we're thankful for.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's really important. I was doing quite a few talks about kindness and gratitude and that sort of thing, and one of the things that I read was that we all think that our emotions are more visible than they really are. So we've all been in the situation where you've gone into work and you said, do I look really awful? I feel really awful. Whether that it's mentally or physically, whether you are hungover or you've got a cold, you think it's really obvious that you feel really awful, but actually it isn't at all. The other person is that they always look really blank and say, no, you look fine. Mm-hmm. So similarly, we think that we've expressed our gratitude, but a lot of the time the other person hasn't heard how grateful we are. So I think that's really worth being aware of at the moment, so that we can have more control over making sure the person has heard how grateful that we are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's something in there about people's different communication methods, isn't there? Sometimes we could be communicating from a place that seems really obvious for us, and yet the other person's not receiving it at all.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's really important at the moment when we're all stuck in with our families.
Yeah. So have you got any kind of top tips or recommendations that people can be using at home? I know you've got lots of information out there already, which we've posted in the links that people can find, but have you got anything you'd like to share here?
Yeah, I'd say if you can do a brief sort of meditation during the day, then that will definitely benefit you. It's been shown scientifically to reduce cases of anxiety, depression and insomnia. And there's a lot of meditations that are freely available. But even if you don't want to put the time into that, if you can just be aware of where your mind's going. So if it's panicking and spiraling, running through all the what ifs, just notice that it's doing that and then bring it back to where you want it to be. And also when you are outside in the fresh air, just deliberately take that time out to not worry about anything and just try and get your focus on the trees, the sky, the feel of the wind, just that sort of thing. Give yourself a break from all the things that you might be worrying about.
Yeah, there's something in there for me. I mean, there's lots of different languages for mental health, and sometimes some words will feel more suitable than others. Some people, for their mindfulness, might seem like a strange word to use, but for me, there's also you can switch it with things like grounding. It's grounding techniques to be able to kind of recognize how you really are in that moment, rather than worrying about the future or worrying about the past. Actually, where you are at that point in time. So yeah, I think that's a really helpful tip for people. Who are your kind of mental health heroes? Who's inspired you to work in the way that you work?
I think Andy Puddicombe, the Headspace person, and that's something that I'd recommend to people. You can get free meditations on the Headspace app, and he's somebody who's made it very accessible.
Could you explain a little bit more about the Headspace app?
Oh yes, it's it'll give you a series of 10-minute meditations for free, and if you buy the app, it will take you through specific packages, like specifically on kindness or acceptance or whatever it is that you need for you. There's also meditations for sleep. So whatever it is that you might need, there'll be something there for you.
Okay, that sounds really helpful for people to maybe go and do a bit of research on as well. Which services or people do you think that you continue to learn from? Who do you tend to follow and who do you tend to watch that help give you insight?
I think that's the one, really.
Okay, yeah.
That's the one that still helps, yeah.
So that's one that you can still go back to, and that kind of gives you somewhere to.
Yeah, absolutely. Another recommendation actually is the I Am app, and it is affirmations. So we'll just ping up things on your phone like I am happy in the moment, or I deserve to be happy. Just the idea is that you say it out loud so that you believe it more. It's about self-confidence and feeling positive, but actually it's a nice reminder as well to have things pop up during the day.
That's two apps that sound like they're quite accessible and quick and easy to use. Yeah, okay. How can people find out more about your service and get in contact to work with you, to start to work with you?
I've got a website, pennymetcalf.com, or Facebook, Penny Metcalf Mindfulness. Pretty much Google Penny Metcalf Mindfulness and something will come up, whatever form of social media or anything that you want to use.
That sounds good. It's easily accessible for everyone to get hold of you.
Hopefully.
Okay, well, thanks very much for talking today, Penny. And if anyone out there does want to get in contact with her, then we'll put some links as well in each of the ways that we produce this. But thank you very much, Penny, for today.
Thank you. Thank you, Claire.